computerization of academic libraries. This topic is covered in the MLIC program, course 7A, elective academic libraries, unit 16. To cover the topic, we have two experts in our studios, Professor Divakar from CCMB Library, Hyderabad, and Dr. Venkatramana from JNTU College of Fine Arts and Architecture, Hyderabad. Professor Divakar, in the last 2 decades, the computer has been extensively used in the library field. So could you elaborate these what is major developments in the 1980s and the 90s?
You are right, Professor. Up to the end of 1970s, computers were very expensive. Computers were very large in size. It was very difficult to maintain computer in a library because they required huge electricity, huge air conditioning, huge infrastructural requirements were there. But what happened was during 1980s, to be precise, during December 1983, the IBM has launched its first personal computer. With the availability of personal computers, it has become possible for libraries to enter into this field of computerization, because the personal computers, the advantage was that they required very small quantity of electricity. They were cheaply available, easily available, easy to maintain, and very user friendly. So the availability of personal computers, what we call PCs today, that has triggered the library automation activity world over. So that was the story during 1980s. And then, as you have rightly said, during the 1990s, we have witnessed the revolution of internet. Now we say the world is a global village. And libraries cannot afford to be away from this concept of global village. So librarians around the world have utilized the advantages of the internet and try to reorient themselves, rededicate themselves with all the good things that are there in the internet. So the internet era, which started during 1990s, again gave a big boost to the library automation activities around the world.
So, Dr. Ramana, when coming to these advantages with the realizing the capabilities of the computers, we have largely witnessed the major advantages of the library computerization. Could you briefly elaborate what are the major advantages of the computerization?
Yes, sir. As you have rightly pointed out the immense capabilities of computers, computers have a great potential in offering great advantages in a library environment. Particularly, it increases the efficiency of library operations, it improves the quality of existing services, it introduces new services, it eliminates duplication of efforts, it performs the certain tasks which were not possible in a manual system. Then it reduces the delays and backlogs particularly in processing works. Then it facilitates networking and resource sharing, and it enormously saves time and efforts of the library staff as well as users. Then it also performs certain tasks which were not possible earlier in a manual environment, and it has capability to handle increased volume of workloads, and it has great savings in terms of manual hours, and it enables rapid communication, and it improves uniformity, consistency, and standardization. It improves collection management. It improves management information in a variety of ways, and it enables even marketing of library services. It improves user satisfaction. It also improves the image, reputation, and the prestige of the library. That it also provides user satisfaction. It improves. Then it provides access to a wide range of information sources in variety of formats like CDs, then online access and network resources, and so on. These are some of the important advantages that we have when we computerize the library environment.
Thank you, Dr. Ramana. Professor Divakar, so there are enormous scope for computerization in the libraries. So a library plans to have computerization of their operations and services. What are the basic steps they have to take care of before taking the computerization?
Yeah. As you know, every library should have its own mission statement. Okay, so we formulate the mission statement, so that we set our long-term goals. Now, once we set our long-term goals, we take them into consideration, while planning the library automation activity. So, this is the first step that we call statement of the library mission. And then we set the general automation goals, what we call general automation goals. Under general automation goals, what we do is we try to understand how to increase the overall efficiency of the library service. Like for example, how to reduce the time consuming activities in a library, how to increase the efficiency of the library services, and how to reduce the cost on the services that we give at the macro level. So, the things that we plan at the macro level, we consider them as general automation goals or broad automation goals. Then we also set the next step the specific automation goals. So, what I mean by specific automation goals is things like setting what kind of OPAC we need for a library, okay, and then what are the features that should be there in OPAC, and should we throw our OPAC open on the internet, okay, and then how many simultaneous transactions could be there on the OPAC. So, these kinds of things we call it as specific automation goals. And then we have, we need to plan the project organization. We know it's worthwhile to prepare a document setting a framework, a timetable, or a framework for planning the whole activity. And we need to identify a leader. Ideally, there should be a leader for the library automation activity. Because if you look at it as a project basis, each project will generally have a leader, so that we'll be able to manage it in a more efficient way. And a leader of library automation ideally would be a library professional, a senior library professional with good knowledge of the hardware as well as software available in the market, and also he should have good managerial and leadership skills, so that he will be able to rope in all the staff of the library and would be able to implement the library automation project in an efficient way. And then it's always good to have an advisory committee for doing the library automation activity. And ideally a library automation activity, the advisory committee would draw experts from other libraries who have wide experience in doing the automation activities, and possibly the head of the computers division in the university or college could also be roped in as a member of the advisory committee, and somebody from the accounts department ideally would be helpful to look after the financial matters of the implementation of the project. So broadly speaking, these are the 5 steps that we use in planning a library automation activity.
And I doubt whether the library staff, they need any training and also visiting some of the libraries, so which are already computerized. Not only one library, maybe the libraries, similar libraries, maybe a college library or a university library taking a computerization project. So then they can visit the similar libraries in the same place to see that how they have gone about it.
Yes.
And they can observe that.
Yes, sir. This training as such is very essential and plays a vital role in a successful implementation of library computerization. Because once people are trained, they will know the potential of computers, and they will be able to come forward. Otherwise, there will be a lot of resistance. Even in developed countries of the world, also there is a lot of failures because of lack of adequate training. But in India, it is more so. People spending lots of money in terms of hardware and software, but very less importance is being given to the training. As such, most of the libraries in Indian scenario are not really able to make use of the potential of the computers. And in order to gain the knowledge of computerization, people need to attend conferences, people have to attend the libraries which have been fully automated, people have to read a lot of literature on library automation, and then they will have to interact with the people who are experts in that line, and also interact with the vendors of software packages, and read the literature, particularly the things where they have already computerized, interact with those people where library automation has been successfully implemented, and know the drawbacks, whereby you will be able to successfully implement in your library without much problems in a practical environment.
And Dr. Ramna, what are the major areas of computerization in the library?
Yes, sir. Today, libraries, computers have been entering and penetrating into every field of activity, and it is not exception to the library. And even in library, because of repetitive nature of the operations, most of the operations in many areas are interdependent, interconnected, and interrelated. As such, the computers will play immensely useful role in automation of almost all areas in any library. For instance, the major areas in a library are acquisition, cataloging, then serials control, then circulation, and even the management of information and administration. These are the major areas where really computers will play a vital role in improving the services and improving the efficiency of library operations.
Okay, well, let us discuss, let us take up one area after the other so that we can discuss in detail about these library operations and the services. Professor Divakar, the acquisition section seems to be the trust area in the library, because all the library starts the functioning of collecting the resources, reading material later, and organizing them. How we can go about the computerization of the acquisition function?
Yeah, Professor, in a manual environment, traditionally a librarian does a lot of repetitive jobs. In an acquisition section, you take the case of ordering books, for example. Typically what happens is, in an academic institute, a professor or a research scholar comes to the librarian or the library staff with a recommendation for purchasing new book, let us say, or asking you to subscribe a news journal. So the process actually starts there, with the what we call an indenter coming to the library with a request. And what does the indent contain? It contains things like author name, title of a book. Maybe rarely they give you the ISBN number. Sometimes they know the publisher. If they know, they give you the publisher's name. So with this basic information, our activity in the acquisition section starts. And then we take that little data given to us, and then check it against our system whether we already have that book in the library or not. And we also try to make an inquiry with the publishers' catalogs. Maybe nowadays, since internet is available, we check it on the internet. Who is the actual publisher? What is the ISBN number? What is the correct price? Okay, things like that. We verify all the bibliographic details. And then once we have these things, we place an order with an established vendor or a bookseller. Okay, and that means a portion of the data that has already been given to us by the user, like say author, title, etc. So we have again rechecked that, and then we try to use that for generating a book order, let us say. So after we send out a book order, then what happens is the books arrive in the library, and then after we receive them, the first thing that we do is we do accessioning. Every book that enters in a library gets an accession number. That has been a traditional practice in all our libraries from time immemorial. So in accessioning, what is it that we do? Again, we write the name of the author, we put the title, we put the place of publication, okay, and maybe we put the price, etc. So again, third time we have have used the same information, and repetitively we have tried to write it down in an accession register. And then once it is accessioned, we pay the bill, and then it goes for technical processing, let us say for cataloging. And again in cataloging, same information again, we repeatedly we put the author name on the top, we call it an author card. We put the title on the top, we call it a title card. You put the maybe series on the top, you say it's a series card. You put the subject heading on the top, you call it a subject card. Okay, again repetitively 5-6 times, using the same elements like author, title, subject. You prepare your cataloging activity, or prepare the card catalog, if you have a system of using the 3x5 cards in your library.
Another, I think some additional features are also required by the acquisition system, I think, Dr. Ramana.
Yeah, it holds orders until funds become available. Suppose if we don't have funds and if we give an order also, system itself have a control that since there is no fund, we may have to wait for till funds are supplied. So that's another important feature that it has. Then once the funds are available, we can reorder the same order for a supplier. Then it also, as I was mentioning, it is very easy to compute supplier performance assessment in terms of average length of time he is taking to supply, and what is the promptness, and almost what is the discount that he has been giving, and overall it will help us to judge who is the prompt supplier, who is a slack supplier, who is so who is supplying a majority publishers' books. All this assessment is possible with the help of a system. Otherwise, in a manual system, it really a very time-consuming process, and it is very difficult to keep track of these many activities in a manual system in a more effective manner.
Then the foreign exchange conversion, foreign currency rates, that is also system itself can
Yeah, it
also
will
do
check and it will make it total.
Because,
this thing, yes.
the calculation it's a bit
Yeah.
difficult sometimes.
Yes.
So the computer itself can
check,
take
and
up
it
that
will
time.
check the prices also while giving order. What is the prices that we had and what is the price that at the time of supply, and if there are variations, it will also indicate. So that will alert us that we will have to see the price proof or and other things before you pass the bill.
Then another function, major function in the library operations is cataloging. Cataloging, how the computer could help us in the preparation of the catalog.
Yeah, even in technical processing, really, particularly cataloging, computer plays a very vital role, because cataloging cards need to be typed, then cards need to be verified, cards need to be filed. All this is a very laborious, time-consuming process. So it is finding very difficult in a manual environment, which takes a lot of time. So computers play a very vital role in generating cataloging. It is automatic generation almost. Cataloging, you don't have to put any efforts, then you will be able to complete within no time. And another thing is, in traditional manual catalog, we will prepare 3 to 5 cataloging cards. But whereas in a computer environment, there is no limit as such. You can go to the extent of 10, 15 if you really wanted to serve the research needs of advanced researchers and faculty members, particularly in an university library system. Then it is a more efficient and better cataloging. You can keep lots of attractive features. Then it is also very speed. The moment you finish the accessioning part, you can automatically generate cataloging, and it will have many access points. It will also, there is no need to maintain even card catalog. It will have simultaneous remote access by multiple users from remote locations. Anywhere in the world, even today, if you put it on internet, you can access the catalog from anywhere in the world at any time. Another important thing it does in a computer catalog, it's very easy to prepare union catalogs.
Yeah.
So that is very most important aspect. Then it also facilitates import and export of data. And it
Because,
also, because the data elements are very standardized and uniform.
Yeah.
So it helps to prepare, it is very easy to import and export data, and also it helps to prepare authority files as well as thesaurus, and that is another advantage. And whereas if you change some things, like any changes that you made in a manual catalog, it is very difficult to incorporate those changes in added entries and other things. But whereas in a computer environment, if you go to the main part of the catalog or database, if you make that change, it automatically will be carried out in all the entries that are subsequently prepared. And it also helps to prepare many byproducts once you have a computer generated catalog. So
Then
this
you can
is
sort out the Normuc material separate catalog, or
Yeah.
language wise the
variety
English.
variety of catalogs can be generated
Maybe
based on the need
the last
of the
year
users.
or before last year or the decade wise.
Yes, whatever manner it is
You want,
required,
you can-
that facility and flexibility is available in a computer environment.
So nowadays the catalog is open to the users, not only in the card form in the catalog cabinets, but also as online public access catalog.
Yeah,
So
that-
the library terminals, computer terminals in the libraries, they give us the opaque form of the catalog. So opaque is an organized machine readable bibliographic records of the holdings in a library, and the user can interact with this terminal for knowing what are the books are there, whether it is what are the book is available in the library by author wise or subject wise or title wise or any combination of these with the logical operators like Boolean operators and or not, so that he will have the choice whether to narrow down his search or broaden his search. Professor Divakar, you have a very rich experience in dealing with the serials in your library. How you go about this computerizing the serials in your library?
Yeah, you are right, Professor. Serials are very important in special libraries, and they are equally important in academic libraries, especially in the university libraries. Okay, in a university library, you have a lot of departments. You have professors, you have PhD students, scholars working. We say in universities, the intellectuals extend the boundaries of knowledge. Okay, so when we have clients, we have users who are extending the boundaries of knowledge. So they actually depend upon not much on books, but actually journals or serials. So typically in any university library or a special library where a lot of research goes on, a huge chunk of money that is allocated for the library. So in my case, it is 95%. In case of places like Osmania University or University of Hyderabad, it could be 70%, 75%. So a major chunk of the money that has been allocated for acquisition purpose in a library is spent generally on journals or serials. So since a huge amount goes on this, so we know as managers of these libraries, so we need to see whether we can increase our efficiency of handling these serials by computerizing the entire activity. Like
serials has one peculiar problems, like they have varied periodicities and irregular supply, and so
Change
they
of
are very
names?
costly.
Change of names.
Change of names, not quite often, and merging, then splitting. All these things really create a big problem. It's a complex process. It has become, suppose if a library is subscribing about 400 to 500 journals, it is becoming a very complex process of managing these things. So in that particular complex environment, really computers with their high processing speeds and immense capability are coming in a big way to help the library professionals in managing their serials. In a library, particularly in a university setup where there are hundreds of journals subscribed.
Those are the peculiar problems.
Yeah,
unlike
very peculiar. Unlike books, books hardly. Relatively problems are quite simple. But in terms of and particularly in Indian journals, they publish sometimes 1 or 2 years, 3 years late. Even foreign journals also sometimes 4 or 5 years are getting delayed, and we have to pay advance payment. Then keeping track of it is a very big problem, because otherwise audit also will provide objections. All this complex situation, so computers like a boon helps in the management of serials in a library.
So coming to this circulation system, Dr. Ramana, I think you have some experience in the managing the circulation system in your library. So what are the major futures you expect for the computerization?
Sir, in fact, see the high volume of transfer. See, one of the most important service that academic library is serving, providing in the country is circulation, which every library, the moment the library means, it is circulation which comes to the mind of any user. So particularly in an academic environment, it has a very high volume of transactions in every academic library, and it is a most time consuming task, and it is very repetitive task. So in this environment, now computerization will help a lot in saving the time and efforts of the both staff and users. It helps speedy discharging and charging and discharging. It improved accuracy and control over all circulation activities, and it is very easy for renewal and reservation of the documents. It gives instant display of the items that are on loan or at reserve or at the binder. Then it also provides details of loaned items and the due dates of the users on their request. Then it also enables handling different types of users for different types of with different types of periodicities and also different types of materials. Because if once a professor is entitled for 12 or 15 books, otherwise if he's a lecturer, he's entitled only 5 to 6. All that complex process can be easily handled with the help of computers. And also it helps very easily we can send reminders to the overdue books outstanding with the defaulters, and also it automatically generates even recall notices wherever there are reservations and wherever there are emergency necessities for certain documents. And also the moment reserved items are being returned to the library, it generate automatically notification to the users who have requested for this. So that way it will save a lot of time, and also it will go very prompt notification to the users. Then automatically it will block even the privileges of certain users who are defaulters. So that normally if it is in our hands, now they will try to please and request, but whereas in automated environment, automatically it will block, and they will try to understand from that level and go. Then it also automatically it calculates fines and also print receipts for the fines. This is also another important activity which will reduce and which will save the time of the staff and also reduce the efforts. Then it also provides a variety of circulation reports. What are the books that are issued and under what are the subjects that are in great demand, who are the prompt users, who are the defaulters, who are the users regularly visiting the library. All these kind of statistics are being generated, press up a button. Otherwise,
User books.
yeah.
So we have 20/80 rule. That is
Yeah.
only 20% of the books
Books
are
will be used usefully.
and 80%
yeah.
remaining they would,
Yeah, that all
government
that kind
collection.
of things will be. Then it also helps in building collection. The most sought after collection, it is very easy seeing these reports. So all these reports will enable the management to take most effective and right decisions in terms of circulation of active rate. It also helps answering comprehensive online questions. Even over phone, you can say you can renew over phone, or you can also give information about how many books is due and what are the due dates and how when he has to return, whether there is a reservation or that. All these kind of questions can be answered even online over telephone also. Then it also fulfills wherever computers wherever these libraries are computerized, they are quite ahead in terms of fulfilling ILL requests, interlibrary loan requests, because it also requires a lot of efforts in order to find out the availability, then again generation of request letter or receiving back the book. All these things can be automatically done in automated environment. Then finally it also generates even automatically the binding lists. So the moment book is in bad condition and circulation, people will enter accession number, and at a particular period of time, month ending or quarter ending, if you want to list of books that are required to be sent for binding, it automatically generates. All these activities really very time consuming, and in today's environment where most of the libraries are understaffed, so computerization will play a very vital and resourceful role in computerizing the libraries, and rather in managing the libraries more efficiently.
So we have covered the computerization of the academic libraries, starting with the basic pages, 6 pages in the in the history of the computerization, advantages of the computerization for the libraries, steps in the planning of computerization, areas, that is operations and services, and we have also answered some of the queries from the users.